Hey everybody, so I am out here in Trafalgar Square in London. I'm here because there is a celebration, commemoration, remembrance, just a reminder that HIV hasn't gone away. It's still here, it's still very real, it still affects so many people, and many people are living with it. And obviously there's a lot of people that we lost to the virus. And this is just about World AIDS Day. It's about remembering those people. It's about remembering the people that are living with it now. And it's just about making a statement. So I'm here with Dan and ACT UP, and that's the gang that I did the HIV blind dating with a couple of years ago. That video will be up here. They're organising this. And I'm going to take some pictures, do a bit of videos, and do a bit of videoing. And yeah, it's raining as usual, you know, good old London. It's cold, it's miserable, but you know, being here together and safely, we're social distancing, we're wearing masks, we're being careful, but you know, it doesn't mean that you can't still make a statement. So obviously the red ribbon is the symbol for World AIDS Day, and this is the crew from ACT UP, and they are constructing this huge red ribbon in Trafalgar Square. And you know, I wasn't sure that they'd be able to do it, but bless their hearts, they did it, and it looked amazing, as you will see.
And then you come here. And you guys need to go a little bit further. There. Yeah. Go down. Yes, perfect. So then that's this. And now we need to make sense with that. We drop this here. That's too big. Is it too big? So, or is it? Yeah, cool. Okay. Well done, guys. Almost. Let's here.
In the middle of another pandemic, and I always used to say, if HIV would affect white straight guys, they would have found a cure within the first year. And guess what? COVID arrives, and what happens? Within 1 year we have a vaccine. How come 30 years into the HIV epidemic there is no vaccine, there is no cure? There are lots of diseases like malaria that kill poor people, and still there is no cure. There is things like tuberculosis, even killing poor people. Millions and millions of people die all over the world because of TB, and there is no cure. It's not about. It's about political will. It's about what the power wants, and the power only acts when people put pressure on them. So our job is not done yet. It's not done, not just because we don't have a cure for HIV, but because there is no cure for malaria, there is no cure for tuberculosis, there is no cure for greed, and there is no cure for stigma. So people are not dying maybe of the virus today, but so many people are still dying because they don't have, you know, they have to face too much stigma in their life, and they can't, you know, live a decent life. And I think that now with the epidemic, this has become even stronger.
So I'm now Moebi, and I've been living with HIV for the past 23 years. I was diagnosed at a very tender age, I guess. I was still, you know, a young adult. I was lost. I was on my own, you know, in the new country. But here I am today, 23 years. I'm still standing, and I have managed to build the whole family. So what the World AIDS Day means to me is remembering those that we have lost due to the epidemic, and continuing to fight and challenge the stigma and the discrimination of people living with HIV. To continue to advocate for access to treatment for all, a lot has to be done.
Yes.
Individually, collectively, and globally, to fight the stigma and access to treatment for all. With the recent COVID-19 pandemic, funding have been diverted to combat the COVID-19. We are now experiencing funding for small grassroots organizations who are acting to support people with HIV struggling, with a lot more people accessing support now because of COVID-19. We urge all the funding organizations nationally and globally to seek to continue HIV charities. I just want to say that I am grateful to be alive today. Alive living in a country where access to treatment for all is available. And I would like to see each and every person in the world who's living in HIV being able to access the life-saving treatment. I would like to finally thank the NHS and the doctors who have continued to support and look after me to be alive today, to see my children growing. And the power is ours.
I was born in the 70s and the AIDS epidemic in the 80s. But I knew about World AIDS Day, but I didn't really pay much attention to it until I was diagnosed HIV positive in August 2015, 4 days before my 44th birthday. I go into services, and if it wasn't for the services, I wouldn't be here today because they gave me so much support. I had so much encouragement. I got involved with ACT UP London about 2 years ago. I met Dan on the Bang Boss and other activists who shared their stories. Then I met Mel, and I did the Cattle for Power with Mel. I've met Sylvia, I met Neo, my sisters. I did 5 catwalks last year. I did London, I did Brighton, I did Manchester. So World AIDS Day to me is just about the HIV community coming together with our allies to show awareness of HIV, to educate people about HIV, to get them, encourage them to get tested. Yes. And to challenge stigma. Yeah. To fight stigma. Yeah. Obviously I have self-stigma with myself. Obviously with COVID now I've got more self-stigma because I'm like stuck at home, and you know, but I've still got I know that my family are here to support me. And Dan, thank you for asking me to speak today. I wasn't going to, but you know, I came and I'm glad I came.
Hello everybody, and thank you for coming. I don't have HIV or AIDS myself, but I've been touched by it in the sense that I've lost partners, friends, family and colleagues. They live in impoverished countries in the developing world, Pakistan and Bangladesh, from my parents' country. Maybe you can tell by my accent that I'm not from those countries. I've actually travelled from Luton to be here. But like I said, my parents are from that part of the world, South Asia. And I still know, I've had partners in those countries who died because of a lack of medical treatment. There is no universal healthcare in those countries. There is no NHS in those countries. Yeah. People with HIV and AIDS are stigmatized and marginalized all the time. I'm sorry to bring things down, I don't mean to do that. I just want to tell you a reality. Muslim majority countries underreport cases of HIV and AIDS. And they're not just impoverished countries. Some of them are very well-off countries, such as Saudi Arabia and such like in the UAE. The reason why they do it is they do not want to open the floodgates to the LGBTQ plus community and LGBTQ plus rights. You know, they don't want to talk about those issues such as sex workers, such as the LGBTQ plus community, drug addicts. And it's not just, we understand as a community that anybody, we're all part of humanity and we can all be affected by HIV and AIDS. It does not just affect the LGBT plus community or sex workers, you know, or drug addicts. But these countries don't want to speak about it because they're going to open up the floodgates. We saw what happened in the Arab Spring with social media and groups coming to the fore. What we need to do, share this with different Muslim groups if you can, in the UK, abroad. HIV is, if you can, share it with other Muslim groups. It doesn't have to be the Muslim LGBT network who I'm here representing today. Anyone, any Muslim, Iman, Hidayah, other groups across the world, to share that tag with them, hashtag with them, and put that across the world. And I come to you, I know people, I've lost partners. One of my partners from Pakistan, another one from Bangladesh. I have to go visit them in those countries. I have relatives in those countries. And I'm telling you, I've seen them firsthand without a lack of medical treatment, you know, what happens. So please, I urge you today to put the word out there. There's other people suffering, you know, and we're all part of this humanity. Look at me, I'm stood before you today as a Muslim, someone who's from here, but we're all connected to all different parts of the world here. Every one of us are activists, you know, and we can affect the world and geopolitics. So thank you very much.
So I was talking to Dan about what we would say to mark this World AIDS Day, and living during this current pandemic, I heard a little bit of the comments as I came in from Sylvia, but I think the contrast is astounding, really, isn't it? It's really fucking shite, basically. In the time of the COVID pandemic, the way that the world has scrambled to meet this challenge has not been reflected in what was done with the AIDS crisis, the HIV AIDS crisis. I think you told me this is, I think, 38 million.
When you tell people, 38 million most people don't even know.
Yeah,
They
don't know.
there's so many.
They don't
They're
know
like,
that
oh, but there's so many. I'm like, yes.
38 million, and we are at the moment going crazy about 40,000 deaths, which is bad, which is terrible, of course it is. But we didn't, the world
didn't
wasn't
put
shut
them
down,
through,
the country wasn't shut
In the
down.
80s,
They didn't rush through further and better treatments, and we wondered why this was. Why do we think this is? Well, it's because everyone is affected by the pandemic, this COVID, and in particular, the wealthy and the powerful, and the bloody tyrants who are who are oppressing people. They are being affected. Therefore, the world had to shut down. When HIV/AIDS came out, they didn't even know what it was, but they knew who it was affecting, and because they knew who it was affecting, they didn't care. They didn't care that it was intravenous drug users. They didn't care that it was gay people. They called it a gay plague. And they wanted to keep it quiet. They didn't even know what it was. They didn't rush people into research like we have today. There certainly wasn't a vaccine being produced during the time, was there? I think when they called it GRID, wasn't there? There was a certain type of drug which was, I've forgotten the name of it.
AZT.
Which was exactly. And I think that difference in the way that it's been dealt with is been something that we've all come to witness. And it's sad, and I think it makes us in marginalised communities recognise that we are not being treated the same. And I think that is really shit for us. But at the same time, I think we should take some pride in the fact that the community came together and fought against AZT and fought for there to be better research and better drugs. And that the community still comes together and that we are still fighting for this. We are still here 3 days after World AIDS Day because of the bloody lockdown, but we are still here. We are not forgetting the 38 million, and we won't forget because the community is important and we need the community, and we have brought that together, and we won't forget. We won't forget those 38 million, even when this is blown over and everyone has got their vaccine and a pandemic is no longer being talked about. Well, there still is a pandemic, actually. It's been going on for 30 years and hasn't been defeated yet. So that's my note on the contrast between the pandemic, the long ongoing pandemic that we're fighting against, and the current one. And I think another final point, me and Dan were very privileged to be able to go to South Africa this year and to join with a collection of our LGBT plus brothers from around the world, and hearing those stories about the actual on the ground daily life of either HIV or queer activists in Africa, South Africa, and what they have to face was really, really humbling and affecting, very affecting, I think, for all of us who went through it. There was a policewoman there who she was called an honorary LGBT, do you remember? Who was talking about how she had to go and constantly protect gay or queer men who on the streets who would be thought, but they would, because she was a woman basically, who was standing up for it, they would accept her. They wouldn't give her as much violence, although I think she did face violence. And I think it was seeing that solidarity, seeing the kind of stuff that our brothers and sisters are facing, in much more HIV ravaged countries than our own, without healthcare, without even an economy, in the same sort of condition as ours is to support everyone. Was really difficult and really sad, but I think coming together and being able to share what we shared, being able to have that solidarity was amazing, and I think it brought us back touched by it. And I think that is what we need to focus on, that we have been able to keep a community going, that we do come together and we do try and support each other, and that is really important. That is the thing that we have. They are coming together at this crisis moment of, oh my God, you know, this is so terrible, I can't go outside. I'm on my couch in my pajamas and I'm doing my work from Zoom, whereas we've been coming out in at events like this, or fighting against the government, fighting against Thatcher, fighting against Reagan, who wouldn't mention it for God knows how many years. But we've got the community. We need to recognise what an asset it is to be able to come together like that. And I'm really proud to be standing here with all of you. Still going.
Well said.
Well
said.
Fight back! Fight
Yes!